Hello and happy day to you, my friends. Today it is time for the Course in Miracles workbook lesson 35. I'm Emily and we are doing these lessons together, so I'm going to go ahead and read it for you today. Lesson 35, my mind is part of God's, I am very holy. Today's idea does not describe the way you see yourself now. Thank you, Captain Obvious. It does, however, describe what vision will show you. Let's read it again. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. No, most of us do not view ourselves as very holy. I think we can agree on that. But apparently this lesson does describe what vision will show us. It is difficult for anyone who thinks he is in this world to believe this of himself. Makes sense. There's not a lot we see that's really holy in this world. Yet the reason he thinks he is in this world is because he does not believe it. I love the circular thinking of this book. I'm like, what? So let's read that again, right? So we're saying that I am very holy, and it's difficult for anyone who thinks he is in this world to believe this of himself. Yet the reason he thinks he is in this world is because he does not believe it. So in other words, I'm holy because I don't think I'm holy, I'm here. Because if I thought I was holy, I wouldn't be here. But as I'm here, it's almost impossible to believe that I'm holy because of the way it is, right? So it's sort of this circular place where I've gotten myself stuck again, somewhere that's like feeding me all this information or proof that I'm not something that I actually am, and that's what's actually keeping me here. I love that. In case you can't tell, it fires me up. You will believe that you are part of where you think you are. That is because you surround yourself with the environment you want. And you want it to protect the image of yourself that you have made. And this is always where this book gets a little hard to believe, right? Because we all think we want the best for ourselves, and if we're unhappy, we don't want to be there. And it starts to point at an interesting concept that I worked with a lot in transformation, which is that a lot of times we're getting something out of negative situations, and people don't want to acknowledge that, right? We don't want to say I'm getting something out of something that's negative for me. We assume we don't want it. It's kind of like those people you meet that say, I hate drama, but they're constantly surrounded by drama and constantly creating it, and everyone can see it but them, right? They're getting something out of the situations that they're creating and the drama that's surrounding them. But they don't want to see that they're getting something out of it. If they did see that and would connect with why they're creating the drama and what they're getting out of it, it would be great, because then they could find a healthier way to get that need met and they would stop creating it there. But because we don't want to believe this about ourselves, again, we stick ourselves into these little micro worlds, right? So you're really taking a concept like that and you're making it macro, right? That I'm actually stuck in this world because I'm getting something out of it, right? Because this is what I think I am, is what the book is telling me. And this is what I think I deserve. And so I'm surrounding myself with this environment. I am not thinking I deserve these things or am what I am because of the environment I'm in. Again, we're toppling that on its head. So we want to protect the image of ourselves that we have made. No matter how distorted the image is, the reality is we made it, and so we love it, is the idea here. The image is part of this environment. So the image that I've made of myself that it's talking about and this environment, right? So the image is this thing you're looking at, right, Emily? I have made this image of myself. And that may go even a little bit bigger to maybe, have I lived multiple times? You can take it down that road. Like, am I constantly, do I always look like this? Am I always named Emily, right? Or does it morph and change? But aside from that, the image that I believe I am right now, which would be the physical manifestation of me and then all of my experiences, and the environment would be earth, the way I think of it, and then, family, job, and all the little micro environments around that. So the image that I am is part of this environment, right? So this image would have no relevancy outside of earth, basically. What you see while you believe you are in it is seen through the eyes of the image. So while I'm here on earth, I'm looking at my eyeballs, and that's what I see around me. This is not vision. Images cannot see. This is getting to the idea that because I'm stuck in this body, or I believe I'm this body, that I only can see the world through this body. But basically, what I see through this body is not the actual world. I always think of it as sort of like water goggles. When you go into the water and you go swimming, you put on these goggles and you can kind of see underwater, right? I can't see that with my regular eyeballs, I need the goggles. And I think of that this way, that this body is like putting on a piece of goggle or a type of goggle where suddenly I can see Earth and the physical reality. And if I were to take those goggles off, like I would actually have vision and be able to see the real reality. But I'm stuck here looking at everything, thinking that this is reality and this is all there is. It makes it easier for me. The idea for today presents a very different view of yourself. By establishing your source, it establishes your identity, and it describes you as what you must really be in truth. We will use a somewhat different kind of application for today's idea because the emphasis for today is on the perceiver rather than on what he perceives. And I split up that last paragraph a lot with my own commentary, so I'm going to go ahead and read it again because this is a meaty one. It's important. You will believe that you are part of where you think you are. That is because you surround yourself with the environment you want. And you want it to protect the image of yourself that you have made. The image is part of this environment. What you see while you believe you are in it is seen through the eyes of the image. This is not vision. Images cannot see. Okay, so now it's saying the idea for today presents a very different view of yourself. By establishing your source, it establishes your identity and it describes you as you must really be in truth. So it's saying my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. So it's establishing my source as God. So it's saying my mind, which is much more related to my true identity, exists in the mind of God because everything is connected. And I am very holy because I'm in the mind of God. We will use a somewhat different kind of application for today's idea because the emphasis for today is on the perceiver rather than on what he perceives. So we are all perceiving through the goggles, right? For each of the 3 5-minute practice periods today, begin by repeating today's idea to yourself, and then close your eyes and search your mind for the various kinds of descriptive terms in which you see yourself. Include all the ego-based attributes which you ascribe to yourself, positive or negative, desirable or undesirable, grandiose or debased. All of them are equally unreal because you do not look upon yourself through the eyes of holiness. In the earlier part of the mind-searching period, you will probably emphasize what you consider to be the more negative aspects of your perception of yourself. Toward the latter part of the exercise period, however, more self-inflating descriptive terms may well cross your mind. Try to recognize that the direction of your fantasies about yourself does not matter. Illusions have no direction in reality. They are merely not true. A suitable unselected list for applying the idea for today might be as follows. I see myself as imposed on. I see myself as depressed. I see myself as failing. I see myself as endangered. I see myself as helpless. I see myself as victorious. I see myself as losing out. I see myself as charitable. I see myself as virtuous. You should not think of these terms in an abstract way. They will occur to you as various situations, personalities, and events in which you figure cross your mind. Pick up any specific situation that occurs to you. Identify the descriptive term or terms you feel are applicable to your reactions to that situation and use them in applying today's idea. After you have named each one, add, but my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. During the longer exercise periods, there will probably be intervals in which nothing specific occurs to you. Do not strain to think up specific things to fill the interval, but merely relax and repeat today's idea slowly until something occurs to you. Although nothing that does occur should be omitted from the exercises, nothing should be dug out with effort. Neither force nor discrimination should be used. As often as possible during the day, pick up a specific attribute or attributes you're ascribing to yourself at the time and apply the idea for today to them, adding the idea in the form stated above to each of them. If nothing particular occurs to you, merely repeat the idea to yourself with closed eyes. So my mind is part of God's. I'm very holy. 3 times today, 5 minutes each, you're going to think about situations and list out attributes as how you're seeing yourself in that situation. I see myself as blank. And then you're going to close out the practice period with, but my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Thank you, dryer. The dryer is saying hello. All right, and that concludes lesson 35.